young girls, young guys, focus on value. Be a valuable person and seek for a person of value. Do you get it? Make sure your values align. Because money there, it will come and it will go.
Interesting.
So if money is what you're using as a benchmark, that's a very fleeting benchmark. Because my mission is to die empty, right? I never want to be 80 and say, I wish I had done something, or if only I had. No. I want to be 80 and say, I did everything I wanted to do.
You're welcome to an all-important conversation with me and one amazing personality I think you are all going to learn from. Her name is Dionne Akom Tweneboah, an author, lawyer, and an entrepreneur. Dionne, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Edward. How are you?
I'm doing well too. This has been a long time coming.
I know.
And you've been in Ghana for some few times now, and you've been engaged in a lot of projects.
Yes.
And before we even delve into all of those issues, people would want to know who you are.
So like you said, my name is Dionne Akom Tweneboah. I'm an attorney licensed in New York and Ghana. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm an author. I like to consider myself a humanitarian. And I'm also a mom with 3 kids.
Okay. And you forgot the lawyer one.
Oh, I'm a lawyer, yes.
Okay.
I said that, licensed in Ghana and in New York.
Okay.
Yes.
Why law?
Good question. So when I was about 7, 8, I watched a show. I believe it's called Soul Food. I mean, that's quite old.
Yeah.
So, and there was a woman in there. She was a lawyer, and the way her clients looked up to her, I realized she was in a position of power. I was too young to know what exactly a lawyer does, but I just realized that she was giving them hope, and she was in such a position that they literally felt like their lives depended on her. I was like, I think I want to be in such a position like this one day. Like, I want to help people. I want to give people hope. So I was like, Mommy, so what's that? She was like, oh, that's a lawyer. I was like, okay, I want to be a lawyer. So it was a childhood dream. I just said it, and gradually, I just aligned everything to become a lawyer.
Interesting. So you just saw somebody being a lawyer, being respected, and then all of a sudden you wanted to do the same thing.
So the options for me were law and medicine. I can't do math.
Okay.
I'm scared of blood and all those things. So I knew medicine was out.
So law is it?
And because of math, I can't do accounting or engineering. I can't do any of those technical things. But I love to talk and I love to read. So when I found out that that's basically most of what you need to do as a lawyer, I was like, then absolutely, sign me up.
Right. So now you chose to be that because you saw someone excelling in that field. Now, to parents out there who are raising kids, the issue of them choosing a career for their children, or maybe their children choosing another path, the whole discussion about what they want to do in the future is always a point of discussion. What do you think parents should do when it comes to, their children picking a career path that they want to do, and probably they have something else in mind for them because they think they know them better?
It's funny you said that. So my foundation, the Nzuri High Foundation, we have a Rise Up Youth Summit, which is a youth empowerment summit, where we go to secondary schools. And this year we were at Bosomtwe Girls STEM School. And about 50 girls came up to me saying exactly what you're saying. Oh, one of them wanted to do art, some of them wanted to do dance, makeup, content creation, but their parents are like, traditional, be a doctor, be an engineer. And most of them were actually very frustrated about it. So that's when I even realized the extent of which African parents want to sort of choose a career for their children. And I find it very interesting because as a parent, personally, I think if I wanted to choose a career for my child, I'll guide them along things I see they are naturally drawn to. Because everyone is naturally drawn to different things. Like my daughter, for instance, she loves to dance. She's that girl that play music. She doesn't care where she's like, it's just a reflex for her. So if she comes to me and she says she wants to be a dancer, I will not oppose it because I know that's something that comes naturally to her.
Okay.
For me, like I said, reading and writing was something that I genuinely enjoyed doing. So it was easier for me to become a lawyer. If my mom had forced me to become a doctor, that would have been a different story. So I think as parents, when you're trying to steer your children, because obviously most of the time you're doing it out of love, you want your child to be financially stable. You don't want a situation where today they have money, tomorrow they don't. So naturally, there are certain professions that have been proven over time to give at least financial stability. But when you're thinking about financial stability, also think about fulfillment. And that's why I even started writing books, because there are so many professionals who are very, very miserable. So on paper, they look very good. degrees, you know, PhDs, doctorate, like so many degrees. On paper, it's excellent. But in reality, some of them are on drugs, alcoholics, like just to be able to cope. And I think that's one thing parents, we overlook. We just think about the financial part of it, maybe the social part of it in terms of, hey, you're a lawyer, hey, you're a doctor, you know, it's very prestigious. We think about those things without thinking about the deeper meaning of what they're going to do. How fulfilled will they be when they're doing it?
Right. Now, before we even delve deeper into the bigger things you've been doing, you grew up right here in Ghana. Just walk us through your upbringing right here in Ghana, your schools and everything that made your childhood very fun.
So, I grew up in Kumasi.
Okay.
We used to live at Hojun Shire, so. And I would say my upbringing was very sheltered until maybe secondary school. My cousins were my only friends. So my whole world was around my family, so to speak. Because, my grandfather had plots, like big plots of land at a particular place. So we're always living together. So my oldest auntie, my uncle, our house, and my mom's younger brother. So we're all sharing a wall.
Right.
So it's like you wake up in the morning, go to school, it's your cousins you're going with. You come back from school, it's your cousins you're playing with. So I lived a very sheltered life in that sense. And if it's not any of my cousins, then it's my grandparents' house. So I was just surrounded by family for a very long time.
Right.
My childhood was amazing. I had a very, very amazing childhood.
Where did you go to your schools?
So I went to Ridge School in Kumasi.
Kumasi.
Yes. Then I went to Tech, which is KNUST, JSS.
Okay.
I went to Primary and JSS. Worst days of my life. But
what made it worse?
Oh, I hated the school.
Oh my goodness.
Like it's like moving from, I wouldn't say maybe like the equivalent of GIS and then going to like a government school.
But I'm sure it has shaped your mentality on some things and made you look like life in a certain.
It did. That's
direction.
I would say. It really did. And that was my mom's reason for doing that, because she felt we were a bit too sheltered. We were sort of in a bubble. So she wanted us to face reality a bit in terms of meeting other people from other economic backgrounds. So that made it. So we realized that not everyone was from our economic background. We realized that not everyone was as lucky as us, so to speak. And it really, really helped us.
So, not to catch you, your mommy intentionally, not because they can't afford it, took you from rich.
You've met my mom, you know her.
And said, I want you to go experience this life.
In her words. Rich, they say sika phone kwama. So you need to go to a school. USA there, watch man, forma or her, way ma or her. So at least you get to see different lives of people. I was like, I could really live my life without seeing that, to be very honest. But it really helped me, because until I went to KNUST, like I didn't even know kids who come to school on their own. Yes, because I was always a driver and nanny taking me to school. Wow. So I never knew that someone because my friends were taking trotro and taxi, and I was so fascinated by it. As unrealistic as it is. I was like I remember the first day I went back home, I told my cousin, oh my gosh, you know the trotros? Like people in my class actually take it. And I was begging my mom that I wanted to take a trotro. Like I would beg her. She was like, those who take trotro, trust me, they wish they had a driver in a car like you. And it was just like, KNUST was a very interesting experience.
Okay, the good and bad, the ugly, everything was there some.
More of the bad. But I think obviously gradually when I started making more friends, understanding the system, it got easy. Because they don't beat.
Right.
And KNUST, they're beating you for almost everything. You're late, they're beating you. You didn't do your homework, they're beating you. I'm like, what is all this? It was very different. But I think
it helped.
I would have rather gone to university in the government sector. I would have loved to have gone through Rage to finish and then, gone to a nice secondary school, because I went to a very nice secondary school.
Right.
And then would have got into the university in the government sector. That would have been my wish, but it wasn't bad.
Right. So where did you go to your university?
I went to Tech.
Okay.
But I went to secondary school at Kusumbo International School.
Okay, so from real school to
KNUST.
So good, and you went to Kusumbo International School, and then you
back in my elements.
All right, and then you came to KNUST to read your
to read law. Yes.
All right. Then when did the decision of moving to the UK come to play for you?
So to the US.
Okay, US.
Yes. So I went to the US initially just to do my master's. So I got there, did my master's. It was I think a 10-month course. So after that, my lecturers were like, "Oh, I'm very good. They think I should take the bar." And being that I did my LLB outside the US, so I don't have a JD. The equivalent of the LLB is the JD in the US, and I don't have a JD. So they said I could either take the New York bar or the California bar. And I love New York. So I was like, okay, let me just try the New York bar. So it was just something I was just going to try, just to say I tried it. Because it's a very difficult exam.
But were you called to the bar in Ghana already?
Yes. So I went in August to start school. I came back in October for my call.
To the bar in Ghana.
Then I went back.
Right.
Then I came back for December.
How different is the experience when it comes to getting called to the bar in Ghana and that of the one in New York?
So I'll say the New York one is very different in the sense it's a very long exam. So it's an exam that tests not just what you know, but I feel like your tolerance level, because it's a 6-hour continuous exam. So even if you get up and go to the bathroom, it's eaten into your 6 hours.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
You finish.
Yes, I mean it's your choice. You can go to you can do whatever you want, but it's 6 hours they're giving you, and you have to finish it. And Ghana is not like that. You have exams maybe it's 2 hours, then you take a break, then an hour. It's broken up like that. But that was very different for me. But in terms of the school itself, and I think the way they prepare there is different than the way we prepare here for the Ghana bar. Because the Ghana bar, you see, it just seems like a continuous exam. I mean, my experience was like, it was just writing like regular exams, like criminal procedure, civil procedure, like whatever it is was just. But with this one, it's. So I forgot which company I studied with, but there are companies just for bar preparation. And I don't think that's very popular here.
Well, you have people who do private classes.
Okay. Yeah. So similar to that, but then so like they have their own curriculum. It's very rigorous. Like it's when I was preparing for my bar, say I went to the library at least 10 hours every day for 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah, every single day, Monday through Sunday. I was at the library.
Wow. So if you have someone who doesn't like reading,
you can't do law.
You can't survive it. All right. So now moving away from the career, you are a mother of 3. Now you were from Ghana, called to the bar, went to New York, studied for the bar, 10 hours a day reading, and then boom, 3 children. How were you able to navigate all of that?
No, so I had my oldest daughter before I went.
Right.
So she was about 5. She was about 4 when I left. She was 2 when I went initially, but by the time I went to the bar, she was about 4. Yes. And then the other 2, I had them after I got married in 2018.
Right.
So the second one is 6 and the last one is 3.
Right.
But
go ahead.
So it wasn't boom, but you know what I mean? So it was like I had one before I started my bar and everything, and then I had the 2 after.
Interesting. So when it comes to partnership and marriages, and for someone who is like you, who is very much interested in your career progression, how were you able to, navigate the whole process in selecting a partner that aligns with your vision and purpose for the kind of life you want to build?
So I will say that when you're going to find, dating is very different from marriage, right? Because I always say, if it's your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you born now, just get up and take your stuff and go. You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy. But when you're married, it's like you're angry, just leave. Where are you going? You're coming back, kind of thing. So one of the things I advise people is when you're looking for a partner, minus the physical looks or the money or everything, make sure your mindsets align. Because if your mindsets align, it makes everything easier. But when they don't align, it creates so much, right? And people think, it's small, just mindset. But it's always the little foxes that ruin the garden. It's always the little things that you fight about, like money, for instance, how you spend your money. That's a very big, finance is the number 1 cause of divorce. So how do you spend your money? I love to travel.
Okay.
Give me any gift. If you don't add tickets, I'm not happy. Like traveling I just love to travel. Right? My husband loves to travel as well. Okay. So when I talk about vacation, we are both aligned on that because he loves it, I like it too. Okay. He loves clothes. We both love fashion. So when we talk about fashion, like shopping and stuff like that, we are aligned on that. Right. He loves investments. Okay. He's an entrepreneur as well. Right. So those are things we have in common. So it makes it easier for us. But imagine if he was someone who hated traveling and I want to use all my money to travel, there'll be friction, Or if I've heard about this new investment, I want us to go, because I love to attend conferences and stuff like that. And he'll always go with me. He'll also hear another one and I'll go with him. That's how we are. Okay. So I think even those are the things that actually made our bond stronger. But imagine if I had a partner who doesn't care about investments or anything I'm interested in. There's a conference. He wouldn't even give you that support, So I think that one of the things should be your mindset. And number 2, your values.
Values.
Know what you want. You see, my friend's mom said something. She was like, if you eat corned beef, don't meet a man and act as if you eat sardine. Because you'll get to a point where you would want your corned beef, and now he'll say you've changed. And he's right in saying you've changed, because when he met you, you were eating sardine. If it's corned beef you want, let him know from the beginning that it's corned beef I want. If he can afford it, fine. If he can't, and maybe you can't even afford it yourself, that's fine. But let him know. And that's the thing, that's the problem I see a lot of young people do.
Right.
They sort of pretend to be someone they're not, just to get the marriage. Then when they're in the marriage, how long can you keep a mask on? Eventually the mask will come off.
Right.
Then it creates problems, because now, hey, you've changed. This is not who you were. But this is who you've been the whole time. You've just been hiding under a mask. So your identity should be known, your vision and your goals, your desire, what you want out of life. If you want a mansion, don't say you want a cottage. Be honest. Do you get it? Maybe he or she doesn't have the means to give you the mansion yet, but at least they know that is what you want. So as you're striving towards it, they know this is where you're going. But if they say cottage and say, oh yes, I'll sit in the cottage, all of a sudden you want a mansion, then it's like, hey, where did this come from, kind of thing. So let your goals, your vision, your identity be known from the beginning, and have a similar mindset. And make sure the person aligns with your values. That is very important. Don't compromise on your values just for marriage, because it will get to a point where you either resent your partner or you can't compromise anymore, and it will lead to a divorce. So do not compromise on those things.
Beautiful. Now, when it comes to dating in these current times, people say that it's difficult now. Reason being that right now, a lot of social media platforms has made it look like there are a lot of options for you. Because if Kwame is misbehaving, Chrissy just sent a DM. Like, okay, at least I have Chrissy in my DM right now. Or maybe you are scrolling on Instagram and you see some fine girl, or you go to Twitter, there's another one. So what would you say has been the differences between dating and marriage in your time and now what we are experiencing these days, where both men and women are trying to play hardcore? You like the person, you have to act like you don't like them. The whole gimmicks around the whole thing.
I think, first of all, social media has a role to play in it, which is quite unfortunate, because social media is making, especially the younger ones, live an unrealistic life. So they are watching people's high life reels, and then they are comparing it to their everyday life. Like, I'll give you an example. I was talking to a young lady once, and then she was saying how she has to leave her boyfriend. I was like, why? Because he hasn't done anything. He's a very good guy. Oh yes, but he doesn't take me on vacation. My friend just went on a vacation to, where was it? Was it Maldives or one of those places? And I was like, okay, fine. Maybe your man doesn't have the financial means yet. But there are probably things he's doing for you that your friend is not getting from her man. Besides, it's a journey. And I think that's what this generation has to understand. It takes time. And I'm grateful to God for my grandfather and my family, because my grandfather was that person that will teach you that life is a journey. It's progression. You just don't get up and you are rich, or you just don't get up and everything is how you want it to be. It's a process involved. When he tells you his story, what did he used to do? He used to pair women's hair. That's how he actually started his entrepreneurial journey. Pairment hair. So I think where there is gold, what's it? Obuasi. So he'll go there, and apparently that's where most of the prostitutes were. So he'll pair their hair. And then
so he was a prostitute makeup artist.
But that was not what he wanted to do. But that's how he used to get his start.
Your grandfather?
Yes, that's what he said. Right. Unless he's lying, but that's what he said.
The one who eventually made
yes,
came
that's
up
what
with
he said.
Poco
Transport.
Transport.
Yes, that's how he started. Yes. And that's the thing this generation fails to realize, that there's this cheap, you don't know where someone is going. Do you get it? So the fact that maybe today the person can buy you a range, or the person can take you to Maldives, doesn't mean you should leave because you've seen someone who can take you. There are so many other things. That doesn't mean you should look at your values. What matters most to you? Social media is fleeting. Today you post it, tomorrow no one cares. Do you get it? So are you going to live your life based on something that is fleeting, or you're going? And I was even watching something. A girl, I think she met her boyfriend or her partner at the airport. I think they had been separated for 2 weeks or something. You should see the grandeur, whole bouquet of flowers. The guy killed her in 2 weeks. That's what I'm saying. Like, social media is not real. Do you get it? There are so many people who come out and say, oh, my husband bought me this, oh, babe bought me this. And then later they come back and say they were in an abusive relationship. I think was it Tontodika or something? Maybe a couple of years ago, she came out that her husband was very abusive and she left him. And all those things, she bought them herself. Do you get it? So you don't live your life based on social media because that's a very wrong script from the beginning.
Right.
Young girls, young guys, focus on value. Be a valuable person and seek for a person of value. Do you get it? Make sure your values align. Because money there, it will come and it will go.
Interesting.
So if money is what you're using as a benchmark, that's a very fleeting benchmark.
Wow, so that's a very fleeting benchmark if you are using money as your target in getting your partner. Now, to my next question, before we even come into the various things that you've been doing, how do you juggle between your career and then family life and everything else that you do? Is there really a balance?
I don't know if there's a balance. But one of the things I personally like to do is prioritize. So there are certain things that are non-negotiables for me, like my kids, any event, I have to be there. So whether it's school, graduation, dance, whatever it is, that's a non-negotiable for me. And that's a non-negotiable because my mom was always there. My mom is that, like, everyone who ever went to school with me knows my mom. Even in Akosombo, she would drive from Kumasi like twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month. Like, she's always there, you know? And that really played a part in my life because I never had to be that child whose parents were never there. Because we don't realize it, but it really affects children, right? You think that was just a dance recital, it was just a soccer game, but it really affects their confidence, their self-esteem. So that's one thing that's a non-negotiable for me. So no matter what I have doing, if my kid has an event, I have to be there. Or if my husband has something that he needs me to be there, I will be there. So in terms of priority, I'll say family is my most important priority, but I'm also a very goal-driven person. So I like, because my mission is to die empty, right? I never want to be 80 and say, I wish I had done something, or if only I had. No, I want to be 80 and say, I did everything I wanted to do. So what I do is, I ask for help sometimes, most of the time actually. And luckily, my older daughter is old enough to help me take care of the younger one. So that really helps. And I just prioritize things that I think are the most important, which is either making me healthier, wiser, or richer, if it's not family. So that's my... And I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have a big circle. So I don't have a lot of social engagements to attend anyhow. So I have a lot of time for myself to sort of allocate how I want to do it.
That's interesting. And now we are going straight into what really brings you a lot of joy, which is your foundation. And if you can tell us what birthed that idea and why you're so passionate about this initiative.
So I was, I think, 17 or 18, and I was an intern at a law firm in Kumasi. And we went to court one day, and a woman came crying with her 13-year-old daughter. And she was talking to the lawyer I was with, because obviously I was not a lawyer then. And she was saying that her husband's brother had defiled her daughter. So she wanted to know what to do about it. So the lawyer advised her, told her to go to the police station, make a report, and then they had the man arrested. So I was very happy at that young age. I was like, oh my gosh, this is very good. This is progress. So about 2 or 3 days later, she comes back and she says she wants to withdraw the case. And you know, in Ghana, it's between the state and the perpetrator, not us. So we told her we can't withdraw it. But I was curious and I asked her why. And she said that her husband had threatened to kick her and her other 5 children out of the house if she proceeds, because it's his brother, obviously. And then if he does that, she has nowhere to go and nowhere to take care of her children. And like I said, I come from a family of very powerful women. And I can never imagine any of my mom's sisters saying that. So that day I was like, I never want to hear that again. I never want to hear a woman having to let go of something like this just because of financial reasons. You see, I always say, as you know, you're studying law, there's something called an informed decision. So you make up your mind based on what you know, right? And then it's something you have decided, not something that has been imposed on you. So I want every woman to be able to take care of herself and her children. So if she's in a situation like that, she can decide whether or not she wants to leave. So that one is not based on survival or the fact that if I leave, there's no one to take care of my kids, but it's based on maybe I've forgiven the person or whatever it is. But I don't want finances to be the reason that any child should go through that or any woman to succumb to that. So that is why I started the foundation. And the foundation is on 3 levels. So the lowest level is the Rise Up is the Youth Empowerment Summit.
Before that, what's the name of the foundation?
The Nzuri Uhai Foundation.
Right. The name is really unique.
Yeah, so Nzuri means beautiful and Uhai means life in Swahili. So the essence is to give every woman and youth in Ghana a beautiful life.
Right. So
And
now
life
the
before
levels
all
of
those things.
Right.
Yeah, so the levels are 3. So the secondary school one, which is, because I believe that, like they say, it's difficult to teach an old dog new tricks. I believe empowering the kids mentally at a younger age makes it easier for them when they get older. So Rise Up Youth, and it's an empowerment summit. We do it in secondary school. You were there last year for the first cohort.
Right.
Actually, last year was the first cohort of it.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Right.
So this year we did 2 more.
Where you went to Accra Girls to.
Yes, last year we went to Accra. So we started out our first project. We went to Accra Girls. It was you and then another Victoria Nashikakwe. And it was a very impactful thing.
Right.
And for me, what I took most from that event was the confidence that the girls were building, you know, because when we started, they were talking with their head down, you know, asking the questions they don't even know how to answer. But by the time we finished, I was like, hey, is this the same girl that started, you know? And that's what I want to see. Women believing in their power, believing in their greatness, believing they are made for more. So that's the essence of the Rise Up Youth Summit, to encourage the young ones to know that they are made for more. That whatever your dream is, it's possible. It will require work, you sacrifice, but it is possible. So it's sort of expanding their mindsets, expanding their belief in themselves, and fostering their self-confidence and self-esteem. And the next one is Conquering, which is a mental health awareness seminar. Because you act the way you think, right? So if you don't think properly, you cannot act properly. And in life, to be successful, you have to act. So the essence of that is also to sort of conscientize the society in terms of our mental health and our mental health issues. Because sometimes, you know, Ghanaians, we have the idea of maybe you're depressed or you're going through some mental illness and say, hey, so you know, stuff like that. Sometimes it's not no, it's something that person is actually going through. So the essence of the Conquering, which is the Mental Health Awareness Summit, is to make people aware that these are symptoms of mental health. Also let people aware that there's help for you, that you're not crazy. You know, if you're going through certain things, don't be afraid. Speak up, ask questions, seek help. So that's the essence of the mental health awareness. And the last one is Excel here, which is a skills development training. Because like I always say, if that woman I met that day had money, she probably would not have wanted to drop the case. I mean, we thank God we're able to drop the case. But then if she had money, there was no way she would have even entertained that idea. So the essence of the Excel here is to develop skills that women can translate into income. So the first cohort was soap making and tie and dye batik making. And I want to expand it to IT as well. So our next course is going to be IT based.
Wow. So something that you dreamt about when you were little has now grown into this amazing foundation where you are empowering other people who are less privileged in the society. I think you're doing amazing well.
Thank you.
When it comes to that. Now to the second part of your life, or maybe the third or fourth. You are also an author. Dionne, you really want to leave this world empty?
Oh, yes.
Like empty, nothing. If they should do a post, how do you call that thing?
Postmortem autopsy.
They will find like, Charlie, there's nothing there.
Everything. No, because the thing is, like, okay, so when I was having my second child, right, there was a bit of complication. They didn't tell me what exactly it was. But you know when in the hospital and doctors keep coming and going, you know there's something wrong. But that day, I realized that more than what was going on, I just asked myself, if God forbid today was my last day on earth, can I say, if I meet God, can I say, God, you gave me everything and I used everything? And the answer was no. So, guys, so that day I told God that, God, if you help me to have this baby safely and then I get back out, I'm going to do everything you've put in my heart to do. So that has been my mission since my son was born. That's when I started the foundation. That's when I started my clothing business. That's when I went into agriculture, like everything. Because the goal is to be able to meet God one day and say, I did everything you wanted me to do.
Amazing. So now you're an author too.
Yes.
With 2 books.
Yes.
Now let's start with the first one. How did you start? What is the thought process that went into writing one, the first book, and then the second one that we launched recently?
So the first book, it was inspired by an older man in my firm, my law agency I was working with in New York. So I worked as a contract lawyer, so on a contract basis. So sometimes the contract will not end and I'll travel. I love to travel. Right. So that when I went to Paris and I came back, and then I met him because I was on a project with him. So I met him. I was like, oh, how was the project? How did it end? I wasn't there when it ended. So I was expecting, oh, it ended like this or something. He just looks at me. And you can tell he's in deep thought. He's like, Dionne, what a waste of my life. I've wasted my life. Right now, all there is for me is to die. And more than the words was the pain in his eyes. And I looked at him and I was like, first of all, you're a white man. Do you get it? If it's even an African man, I can say, okay, maybe racism and stuff, you couldn't do what you wanted to do. But this is a Caucasian older man who's a lawyer. And that's what I was saying initially, that in most people's eyes, he's very successful. But in his eyes, he has wasted his life. So I asked him, so I was actually intrigued. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, he wanted to be an artist. And he showed me some of his paintings and they were very, very good. But his parents said he should be a lawyer. So as usual, he went and became a lawyer without being able to pursue his art. And every single day of his life, he lives in regret. Because he always asks himself, what if he had pursued the art? Would his life have been different? Would it have been more fulfilled? It probably wouldn't have been, but at least he would have known. You know, there's a path laid for you. Wake up in the morning, go to work, come home, eat, go to bed, you know, go to school, have a job, get married. It's a linear path. And that path is devoid of passion or purpose. So most, like you were saying, with these young kids that when I went to Bosomchi, most of them are asking me, their parents want them to do that. You can be a doctor, you be a very successful doctor, but you be a very unfulfilled doctor. And that man is the one that made me realize that. Because he's an older lawyer, a Caucasian. And in the eyes of society, he's very, very accomplished. And he looks at me and he says, all that there is left now is to die. And he's not even sick.
Wow.
Do you guys, even people who are terminally ill have hope of living. And he who is very fit wants to die. Just because of how he thinks he wasted his life. So that was what inspired me to write my first book. That I don't want to hear that again. There are certain things I never want to hear. And that was one. And I was like, no, if I have found my purpose, let me help others do the same. Because there's one thing to know what you want to do, but there's another having the courage to do it. So that's what the book was about. Knowing how to discover what you want to do with your life and having the courage to do it.
Right. And then on to the second one.
Yes. The Tyranny of the Ordinary.
Right.
So I don't believe in mediocrity. I don't believe in a life half lived. You see, I always say that I want at the end of the day to be able to answer that these are the talents and I've multiplied it. Do you get it? So that's why I wrote The Tyranny of the Ordinary. It's also a way of honoring my grandfather, because my grandfather was one of the most successful people that I knew personally. But when I moved to the US, I realized that most people have shelved their dreams, you know, because most of them will get there. When I was writing Conquering, I interviewed a lot of immigrants, female immigrants, lawyers, doctors, some of them doing menial jobs. Because I just wanted to know, because like I said, my whole life I've been in a bubble. I respect that. So I just wanted to know like the realities of life. So I spoke to so many people. And one trend I realized was most people were maybe lawyers back home and now they're doing cleaning, nursing, CNN. There's nothing wrong with that. But the issue is they don't like it. Do you get it? I always say, if you want to be, whatever you want to be, if it's your decision, that's perfectly fine. But most of them didn't like it because they think that's all there is for them. Do you get it? And the thing too is that when you come and meet someone in America, because London, I lived in London, but not as much as I've lived in America. Right. But then so it's like, when you come and meet me, I'm a CNA or I'm a cleaner or I'm a nanny, whatever it is I am, most likely you do the same thing because that's all I know and that's what I'm teaching you. And that's the issue because most of them stop there, you know, and then it becomes, okay, I'm just comfortable with just bare minimum, just paying bills, barely able to travel or do anything I really enjoy doing, you know? And that's why people are so obsessed with social media, because when they see people who are courageous enough to live the life that they want to live, they're like, hey, okay, then that warrants them following them and being inspired by them. Because most people live very dormant lives.
Right.
Do you get it? If you ask an average immigrant woman in the US what their ideal life is, and you ask them to describe what their current life is, it's like night and day.
Right. What would you say has been a mentality that is keeping people, you know, in the ordinary state, especially in this our setting in Ghana?
I'd say comfort and complacency. You see, most of us have this mindset of local champion. You know, like maybe one street, they have a small store, they are the Oga. You know, we have no mind of excellence. You know, because I always say that in life, it's like an onion. There are always layers to something. if you commit the time and resources and even attention to it, you realize that you can always become better. You can always do better. But most of us, especially when we migrate to another country, we get some small dollars, feel like, oh, that's it. I can maybe pay my bills. You know, I'm the guy, you know.
Right.
But my point is, I like to compare African immigrants to Jews and Chinese, right? They come with a totally different mindset. A Jew is coming to dominate. Their mindset is dominance. A Chinese, the same. So even if they start as a job, so maybe because everyone has to start from somewhere, they'll start even with a cleaning job, something. Their goal is to set up a business in the next 2 to 3 years. So just quarter, you see that they've opened Chinese restaurants. Do you get it? Pastor Lumide will say, chicken wing, they come in. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah.
But that is very true.
Yes.
Everywhere they go, they dominate.
Because they have a mindset of dominance. You see, the thing is, the formula for success in the Bible is threefold. You have to be, then you do, then you have. Most of us have jumped to the have, right? But if you skip the being and the doing, you can't sustain the having because it's a process, right? And then who you are depends on your mental conditioning. And you are conditioned in 3 ways. Words of affirmation, whether of affirmation or defamation, specific incidents, and modeling. What do you see around you? My book launch, you mentioned something that in your village, the only person you saw was the doctor. So you wanted to be that person because that's the person you saw. I don't know if you remember that video of a little girl, I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah, but then that is all the person knows. You see, so that is the thing. Most of us, first of all, we are very limited with our vision, with what we've been exposed to. And that's why I'm always grateful to my grandfather and my mother, because I was exposed to a lot at a very young age. So I know I have that advantage, right, as opposed to maybe the typical Ghanaian. But then I feel like right now with the rise of social media, you can expand your horizon. You can expand what you're exposed to digitally, at least, right? So when you migrate to another country, don't limit yourself to what the people in your country are doing. My grandfather always had this thing. I still too bata and found humble chrome for. And that's one thing I lived by. So when I went to the US, after I finished my LLM, for a couple of months, I was finding it difficult to get a job. And then people were like, go back to school, go and do the JD because the LLB is not respected in America. And I was like, the LLB is the equivalent of the JD. What do you mean it's not respected in America? It will be respected and I will get a job. And when I said, hey, what do you want to do? And I was like, look, Chrome had is what's keeping people stuck. All of you can be multi-millionaires with huge enterprises, but you're all having 90. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 if that's what you genuinely want to do. But then the thing is, most of them don't want that. Most of them really want to live a very luxurious, lavish life. But the reality is they are not. And it's because Chrome had is saying, Chrome had is. I told them, no, I'm not going back to school. And I didn't go back to school, and by God's grace, I got a job. Wow. You see, so I feel like it's a mindset thing. Because I always say, I think it was Dr. Miles Monroe who said something. He said the elephant, right? You know that the lion is not the biggest animal in the jungle. It's not the wisest, it's not the tallest, it's not the smartest. It's not the anything, but it's the king, right? And the lion sees itself as the king, so it acts like a king. And the elephant, who can easily trample the lion if it really wants to, sees the lion and it runs away. Because in the elephant's mind, he is lunch, right? But in the lion's mind, you've seen something that's probably 2 or 3 times or even 4 times your size, but you also think it is lunch because in your mind, you can hunt it down and eat it. But in the other mind, this can hunt me down and eat me. Right. You see the two diverse mindsets. The most Africans, I'll say the ones I've interacted with, not all of them, but the ones I've interacted mostly, we think we are lunch. We don't have that mindset of I'm a king, I'm a lion, I'm about, and it's not because we can't do it. We can easily do it. We are more than qualified to do it, but it's our minds that's keeping us small. So we limit ourselves to living in not so good neighborhoods. We limit ourselves to our kids going to subpar schools. We limit ourselves to getting menial jobs and staying in those menial jobs for decades, which I don't think is right.
Interesting. Now we are getting to the end of the conversation, and I'm going to ask you 3 questions in one, and you have to answer me. Now, if you have to advise little Dionne in Kumasi, in rich school, little girl, if you should send a message to her in the past, what would it be? Also, if you should leave this world, if there is nothing, if you can if there is one thing you can leave the world with beside your 2 books, what would that one be? And then the last one, what role has your parents played?
So the first one, what I'll tell little Dionne, give yourself time and give yourself grace. I think at some point in my life, I was very hard on myself because of certain decisions I made, and I think those decisions didn't go out how I wanted to be. So I was very hard on myself. So in those times, I'll say give yourself grace and give yourself time. In terms of what I want to leave the world with, I want everyone to believe that they are powerful, that there's seeds of greatness in each and every one of us, that no matter what you want to do in life, you can achieve it. There's a price to pay, yes. And if you're willing and able to pay that price, there's nothing that's out of reach for you. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. Right. And lastly, my parents.
Yes. Shout outs to Mrs. Akom.
I'll say my mom is my greatest supporter. My mom is my rock. Like, she has unwavering faith. She's that kind of person you call, mommy, say this, she's like, oh, you bought bosom pie. And I say, like, she's just a rock. You can just stand on her and you know you're good, because spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, like everywhere she's there. My dad is much more reserved, quiet, but obviously he's also played a very important role in our lives. He also exposed us to a lot. My dad was one of the people that encouraged us to travel a lot, to see new things. So yeah, so both of them, I'll say, they are very supportive, and they're really my pillars.
Right. Any final words?
Like I said, no dream is off limits. And if you have anyone who tells you your dreams are not possible or you're dreaming too big, please, please, please try and limit the amount of time you spend with them.
All right, and also, so we've come to the end of the conversation with me and Dionne Akom Tweneboah, a lawyer, an author, a mother, and an entrepreneur. This is an amazing conversation that you can find on all our channels and on her social media platforms. Yes. You can just search Dionne Akom Tweneboah and you'll be able to see her. To see or to get to access any of her books, I'll be putting the link of her books inside the caption or the description of wherever you're watching this video, so you can go there and buy it for yourself. It is also available on Amazon. My name is Edward Asare, and until next time, bye-bye.